Welcome to another episode of Anime Talks in my channel. But this time is a little different because the anime I'm going to talk about today is not a normal anime. It's one of the darkest anime with predominant features of realism. I really worked hard for this video. It's one of my most researched videos. So please watch the video till the end and please share it and subscribe my channel. That will give me motivation for work. Now, before I start talking about the storyline or the characters, I had to give a briefing about the political history uh, of post-World War Germany because politics is the driving factor of the show. And what exactly happens in the anime and why does it happen, you will understand all if you understand the politics first. That's why. After the Potsdam Conference, Germany was divided into four occupied zones. Let's talk about East and West here. West Germany, or the Federal Republic of Germany, was officially established in May 1949. East Germany, or the German Democratic Republic, was established in October 1949. Under their occupying governments, the two Germanys followed very different paths. West Germany was allied with the US and the UK and France and became a Western capitalist country with a market economy. In contrast, East Germany was allied by Soviet Union and fell under highly centralized communist rule. The concrete barrier of Berlin Wall separated the East from the West for 28 years during the Cold War. Those who lived in the East remember those years as a time of shortages, being spied upon, and feeling trapped. This explains why, over the nearly 3 decades of Berlin Wall, thousands of people tried to escape from East to the West. While the Cold War never resulted in direct military conflict, 140 East Berliners were shot trying to cross into the West. When the wall came up in 1961, a sixth of East German population had already moved west. Phone lines were all tapped. Women were treated as prostitutes. They had to be ready to be in physical relationship with the communist officers of East Germany, and this was shown quite honestly in the film The Lives of Others. The situation was terrible. No one had freedom. Even any article written or drama arranged against the communist government were banned, and the creators were tortured brutally. East Germany was also the hub of human experiments. That's why many people fled from East to West Germany, and this is the major plot structure or source of this anime. A report from DW.com discusses about the experience of inmates of juvenile home in East Germany, which is as follows. These days, the institutionalized abuse and shocking conditions that prevailed in Torgau and East Germany's other children's homes, from withholding food and thrusting heads into toilets to beatings and rape, have been well documented in memoirs and media coverage. But it took decades for former inmates used in being told they were lying, worthless failures, to start speaking out about their ordeals. And this particular instance can be well related to the incidents that happened in 511 Kinderheim in the show. On the other hand, the United States poured billions of dollars into the West German economy. They stationed troops in the less developed parts of West Germany. Rent was paid for garrisons throughout these areas. Rent was paid directly for houses. GI spent money on tourism and nightlife. And the West Germans were paid as employees of the American government. So like I said, the anime is the most realistic anime I've watched, and the elements of the show are nothing but truth. And now let's talk about the story. It's one of the most complicated storylines ever. Being a writer, I was astonished to see the subplots of the story spreading like a thread and then getting reconnected. Credit goes to Naoki Urasawa, the writer of this manga. There are so many characters contributing their own to the scenery of Doomsday. Now, if I start talking about the whole story in details, it will be more than a 6-hour long video. And trust me, I'm not Johan, and because that would be a torture. Okay, bad jokes apart. Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a young Japanese brain surgeon, works at Eisler Memorial Hospital in Dusseldorf, West Germany. Tenma is dissatisfied with the political bias of the hospital in treating patients and chooses to save Johann Liebert, one of the twins, rather than the mayor. Johann is saved, but Mayor Riedecker dies. Tenma loses his social standing. Director Heinemann and the other doctors in Tenma's way are mysteriously murdered, and both children disappear from the hospital. The police suspect Tenma, but they have no evidence and can only question him. 9 years later, Tenma is chief of surgery at Eisler Memorial. After saving a criminal named Adolf Jonkers, Jonkers mutters about a monster. Tenma returns with a clock for Jonkers. He finds the guard in front of Jonkers' room dead and Jonkers gone. Following the trail to the construction site of a half-finished building near the hospital, Tenma finds Jonkers held at gunpoint. Jonkers warns him against coming closer and pleads with him to run away. Tenma refuses, and the man holding the gun is revealed to be Johann Liebert. Despite Tenma's attempts to reason with him, Johann shoots Jonkers. Telling Tenma he could never kill the man who saved his life, he walks off into the night, with Tenma too shocked to stop him. Tenma is suspected by the police, particularly by BK Inspector Lunge, and he tries to find more information about Johann. He soon discovers that the boy's sister is living a happy life as an adopted daughter, and the only traces of a terrible past are few nightmares. Tenma finds Anna, who was subsequently named Nina by her foster parents, and this sequence of events get entangled with several people from Germany, Austria, and Czech Republic, and finally lead to the end. What gives life to this series is the characters. Dr. Tenma represents life, and Johann, death. There are many aspects, symbolism of religion in the storyline, but I'm not going to talk about that in here. Now, what is the most important thing in someone's life? His identity. Johann is such an incredible psychopath that he simply plays with his own identity, trying to make himself seem imaginary to the world. And how can someone make himself seem fictional? By ending the lives of everyone who knows him. Johann wears a mask which covers his inner darkness. He is a calm and handsome gentleman, but on the inside he is the definition of pure and unadulterated evil. He is the personification of nihilism. He believes that all lives can never be equal, and the only way it can be equal is death. Now, where did this belief come from? From his mother's actions at the Hotel of Three Frogs? His mother chose Anna, Johann's sister, over him, and there must be some reason, according to Johann, why she chose Anna. It's the simple rule of the world, survival of the fittest. That's why he longed to create the scenario of Doomsday, the ultimate fight for survival. He was so driven towards that he stole Anna's memories and made those his own to experience the killing at the Red Rose Mansion. And he created two massacres in future, one at the 511 Kinderheim and later at Ruenheim. And he wanted to commit the perfect suicide, where he wouldn't have the weapon but he would be the reason of someone else killing him. And he believed that would be Tenma because he wanted no one else except Anna and Tenma to observe the scene of the perfect doomsday. His weapon of killing is not guns or chainsaws but words, just frightening, blood-curling words which makes his victims drown in depression. And his motives were further set on fire by eerie and gloomy stories of Klaus Poppe or Franz Bonaparte's picture books. Klaus Poppe was doing the experiment to create the perfect leader, but did he really have to kill others in order to do that? And why did everyone instantly think that Johann is the monster the moment they saw him? Because there was nothing like a monster in his looks. Maybe his extreme calmness and expressionlessness made them fear him. Or after they got into the dimension of depression and hopelessness after listening to him. Whatever it is, Monster is so complicated because it talks about human nature. Ironically, Johann's real name was not Johann, and his real name is never revealed in the show. And in the last scene of the anime, what does that empty bed signify? What does it reveal? That Johann will never be dead? The evil will forever live inside humans? Or is he really dead? Tenma was just talking to the hollow. This makes Monster an open-ended show.
Isn't that right? You have to do it.
On the other hand, Tenma never wanted to do anything wrong. He wanted the end of Johann because he thought he was as responsible for creating the monster as Klaus Poppe, but he never really could kill Johann and he didn't. He was just another prey of organizational politics, wanted to do the right thing always but got in trouble again and again just for choosing the side of justice and truth. I talked about the miserable condition of East Germany, but not only East Germany, but also the communist government of Czechoslovakia formed a nexus of heinous acts. Bonaparte's father, Turner Poppe, played a big role in the formation of Bonaparte's monster. According to Colonel Ranke, a former captain of the Czechoslovakian secret police, Turner Poppe was a communist, and he was in relationship with the girl his son Klaus Poppe or Franz Bonaparte liked. Klaus wanted to take revenge against his father by creating an experiment chain to deprive people of their own identity. An eugenics experiment was a project set up by Franz Bonaparte with the help of Peter Chapek and 42 others to create a superior Czechoslovakian race in early 1970s. The parents of these children were selected from a list of thousands of people, and they were all tall, beautiful, healthy, intelligent, and from excellent stock. The men were for the most part all military officers or had military lineage. The women were all involved in sort of liberal activism, and the reason for this being that Bonaparte himself had no interest in genetics, but rather was intrigued by recreating the personalities of those who were already born. All subjects were in their early to mid-20s. In the 1960s, as a part of the Communist Czech secret police, he conducted personality reprogramming experiments. As one man in Another Monster put it, he was intrigued by recreating people who were already born. Now, Johann's sister Anna is a multifaceted character, demonstrating the value of forgiveness, virtuous sacrifice, and redemption, and yet displays the human tendency towards violence. She is a bit like Tenma, but she reveals the part of monster hidden in her when she remembers her disturbed past. Johann tries many times to destroy the differences between him and Anna, and to establish the fact that Anna and him were no different. So Anna is another manifestation of the monster, but not that strong.
I saw something frightening. Something very frightening. A whole lot of people died. The Red Rose Mansion. Everyone in that room was drinking wine, and then they collapsed, writhing in agony, piling on top of each other.
And one more intriguing character, Inspector Lunge. His ruthless tenacity, efficient calculation make him this special. To catch a killer, he becomes the killer. I mean, he starts to act like a killer. He was always efficient, and from the beginning, he used to believe Johann was an imaginary character, which seems inappropriate in the beginning, but he was right. Johann is an imaginary character. This name was just being used by Anna's brother. And when he apologized to Tenma, keeping his calm composition, that scene was impressive. Even when apologizing, he was strong, and that's a great character trait. Now, if I talk about the art style of Monster, the unsaturated colors, but good amount of details in case of lines, and the gloomy undertone over the whole anime, the sad and eerie background music, long scenes of just conversation and no music, close-ups and transitions, all this give Monster everything it needs to be one of the most perfect psychological thrillers. It's so realistic that at some point it feels slow. Although I can say the anime has a rather happy ending, but the whole show is just deeply depressing. But the exciting part becomes stronger after the 50th episode. There are some differences that I figured out between the Japanese and the English version. I don't know why they did it in the Japanese or the original version. They were just saying extremists caused a fire in a locality, but the dubbed version says right wing extremists. Whatever. But the truth is that this is truly one exceptional anime, and I want to rate it 8 out of 10 stars. Thanks for watching.